Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, with our host, Gary Anderson.
And here I am. We're down to like the last half an hour on the show. I want to thank Constance Briggs for coming on tonight, talking about the moon. And we kind of deviated a little bit, talked about aliens and that stuff too. Well, James, Constance, are you guys both there yet?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, my feeling is that I got a funny feeling the moon is hollow. You know, again, when they crashed one of the landers on the moon, it said that for hours the moon rang like a bell. If it was a solid mass, that would not have happened, according to some scientists I've talked to. So that tells me that maybe it could have been brought there. You know, the other theories is that the moon was just drifting out in space, got caught by our gravity, and kind of was placed there in a capture. I just find that very strange that the moon, the size of it, and all this stuff just happened just to, here it is, and it gets captured. It doesn't make logical sense to me, but I could, again, I could be a potato peeler. I don't know.
Potato peeler. Jeez.
I agree with you. It's not, I don't think it's possible. And all of those theories have been discounted. So, they haven't proven it. We don't know where the moon came from. Hello?
Yeah, we don't.
We don't know where the moon came from. We sent astronauts to the moon, and we still have very little information, to be honest.
And the information we got back, how do we know it wasn't filtered? Or then, if they got wrong information, they supplied us with wrong information. In other words, they could have flatly lied to us about what they found on the moon when they went up there.
Well, you know what? We just have to, you're right, and we just have to continue to learn and do our own investigating, go over, books like this one and others, that have information. I suggest that people go ahead and, read, take some interest. NASA has all kinds of stuff on the Apollo missions where, the astronauts were talking about things that they saw that were strange. Go in there and look at it. It's public. I didn't make this stuff up. This is an encyclopedia, type book. The sources, a lot of the sources came from NASA. So, we have to educate ourselves and, keep talking about it. Get the word out there.
Well, I think you're so right. Again, I've mentioned this numerous times, and James isn't going to know what I'm going to talk about real quick.
Yep.
A while back, the president had some former astronauts, and he was giving them a medal, and he was giving this little speech. Now, Trump has come out repeatedly. He said he doesn't believe in UFOs. He doesn't believe in aliens at all, that it's all pretty much all hogwash. Well, while he was given this, speech like this, right? Here's Buzz in line with all these other former astronauts. And as soon as Trump says that he doesn't believe that there's, ETs and stuff like that, if you could just see Buzz's expression, because the cameraman caught it, he rolled his eyes in the back of his head. He was mouthing something to himself, quite obviously, upset like you wouldn't believe that Trump would say this, especially while he's getting this award.
Right.
Yeah, it just, and Buzz has come out and said on numerous shows that there was aliens on the moon. There were craft on the moon, and there was bases on the backside of the moon. Now, here's somebody, if you even look at before he was an astronaut, he was a test pilot. The guy, very credible. He's not the only one, but he's the most outspoken one. Makes you realize that there is something going on the moon that we've been lied to all these years when they sit there and say that there's nothing on the backside of the moon. Well, you know what? There is. There's some images. I've seen it in the past where NASA would post something, and then within a matter of a couple hours, they blacked out a big hunk of it. Why would they bother blanking it out if it was nothing there they wanted us to see? It was something there that obviously they didn't catch. You know, when they first put it out, oh my God, look at this. There's something there. It could prove that there's life on the moon. So they block it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's true. They did. You know, and people have come forward that, you know, worked in the photo departments and said, you know, I saw someone back there blocking things out of the picture. So I don't know. I don't know why they're covering it up, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and just hopefully it's in my lifetime, because I really like to know. You know, again, when we had our guest on last week, you know, he said, well, how do you know there isn't a breathable atmosphere on the moon? We're only told by what we were told by our government. Because, you know, he claims that on one of the pictures he got, there's vegetation on the moon. If there was a lack of oxygen, as he put it, then why would there be vegetation? For years, we were told there was no water, no nothing on the moon. But here in the last year or two, they've come out and said they have found water on the moon.
Well, you know, it's not just, it's not just water. There are, at least in my book, I have I have a section on moon anomalies, and it talks about vapors being seen, and what looks like smoke being seen coming from what appears to be domes. There's some even talk of, you know, some helium-3 being mined up there, and you know, lights coming from domes that they can see. Just all kinds of stuff going on with those craters. Obviously, you know, we're not getting the whole truth, and you know, where would vapors come from? You know, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, you know, I believe that the reality is that we haven't been told the truth, but we just, you know, don't know why yet.
They don't want us to know. Even James sat here and was telling me, and, you know, I kind of discounted it at the start. But then after, you know, digesting it for about a week and a half, he said that, you know, he saw a picture of the moon with, like, it looked like a smokestack with smoke coming out of it. And first thing in my mind goes, well, if there's no atmosphere, no oxygen, how is smoke going to be coming out of a smokestack? It would be, if it did come out, okay, it wouldn't even move. The whole planet and that whole area would be nothing but, you know, smog. But then, James, but then after we had our last guest on, and then I did some research the last couple days, if there is some type of atmosphere, which I think there probably is more than what we are led to believe, and if there is some type of oxygen content, then, you know, then that tells you that then smoke is real. I mean, to burn stuff, to have smoke or whatever, it takes oxygen to create a fire. If there is no oxygen on the moon, then oxygen would have to be manufactured, brought to them, or whatever. It would be a very a resource that would be cherished. Why would they be creating smoke from something? So it tells me that they do have an atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the only thing that I really know about an atmosphere, or speculate about an atmosphere, would not actually be on the moon. Actually, it's under the moon. I think that there is a possibility that there is an artificial system inside the moon with domes where atmosphere is being manufactured. As far as on top of the moon, I think you're right there. Like I said before, there are rumors from the contactees that there is vegetation up there. And, of course, you know, there would have to be an atmosphere. But I I don't know any more than that. And I'm going to keep an eye on all of these things. I consider it my my duty. I might even have a Moon Mysteries 2 book eventually, because I'm starting to collect more stories try to follow what's going on and kind of read between the lines a little bit, because when something doesn't sound right.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. What gets me, like I said earlier, we come by a couple times a week where an asteroid either skins our atmosphere, goes by between the moon and Earth, or hits the Earth, little teeny bits of asteroids. Again, a month and a half, 2 months ago, one they said was not going to hit the Earth, did hit the Mediterranean. That kind of shocked everybody when that happened. But why aren't, people with these big giant telescopes seeing asteroids or big huge rocks hitting the moon at 200,000 miles an hour, which would kick up a lot of dust and whatever? We're not seeing any of that. Have you?
No. I mean, I don't profess to being a scientist, but I can tell you that the far side of the moon, interestingly enough, does not have as many hot marks as the near side of the moon, interestingly enough, and that the moon itself is said to have a very strangely resistant surface that may be even metal under all of that dust, because when the asteroids do hit it, it doesn't dent very much. It seems to be resistant. So I don't know if we're going to see it, because the moon itself isn't normal. It isn't made normal. The theory is that the moon was purposely made to be indestructible, and that when they hit, no matter how deep the meteorite or the asteroid hits that thing, it's all of the same depth, from a small one to a big one. It's not penetrating it like it should, and that itself is a mystery. So I don't know if that has anything to do with, I'm not a scientist, with why we're not seeing more of the, dust flying up or whatever. But the structure of the moon itself, I don't know if you've heard it, it's said to be made up of some very strong material that they cannot explain. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Good possibility. James, you got a question?
No, I was just going to say, when you were talking about that picture with the smoke, that smokestack, that comes from an actual video from the Apollo, and the pictures are stills from that. It is amazing video.
Is that a dome, James? Wasn't that a smokestack coming out of what was shaped like a dome or a pyramid shape, if I recall?
I can't. The Apollo goes by so fast, but it's coming out of the moon, and it's supposedly very high too. Now, the actual fire, if there was a fire, would be down inside the moon, kind of like you were speaking of. But as they're flying by, you can see a plume of smoke coming clearly out of a pipe.
Coming from, possibly, James, that thing, I remember seeing a picture. I'm actually trying to find, I don't know if I actually wrote on that or not, but I remember seeing a picture of that, and I thought that it was coming out of the inside of the moon, like out of a hole, or a pyramid, or something with that kind of shape. It was my impression that it was coming from beneath the moon.
It could have been. I just know it was mind-boggling, and I've watched that video so many times, but I never really focused on what it was coming out of. It's just the smoke. It gets you in such awe when it keeps, the Apollo's going by there. And then
it shouldn't be there. I know. It's weird.
Yeah, and then what they call like white pigeons or something. They got nickname for something there. Them white things they see.
Yeah, the pigeons, moon pigeons. Yeah, what the heck were those? Those things looked like they were being propelled from the surface of the Earth They didn't know what they were. They don't know what they were to this day, but they nicknamed them moon pigeons. What in the world could those have been?